Hello, good morning, and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapisa CBD. Now, in our first story, the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has entered day 9 with no end in sight. Members of the association say they will not return to work despite a court order directing them to resume work whilst continuing negotiations with government. The association says it wants government to abide by a 2012 agreement to pay entry-level lecturers $2,000 and $84,000 per month on the single-spine salary structure. President of UTAG, Professor Charles Mafo, says their strike is indefinite and they will only return to the class when their demands are met.
That we also go to court. That is why we are at court. Once they file our position that the judges should be set aside, I guess there will be no case. But if that is not the case, I'm sure they will advise us exactly what to do.
Prof. Mafo, how long do you intend to continue with this strike?
Indefinitely. The last time we met, we were told clearly that we are in a stalemate, so nothing is on the table. We said what is even on the table has been withdrawn. Am I lying? It's true. And so now if we say there's the opportunity for us to get back, we are also ready to come. But just as they want us to call off the strike, why are they in court? As a sign of good faith, maybe they should have also not gone to court and said, oh, why did we went to court and said that now that earlier on we said it was withdrawn anything, there is no more offer on the table. Now, if it is not that case, then we should also not go to court and call us back to the table.
Let me take you to the Ashanti region next, where the police command has renewed enforcement of road traffic regulations to deal with increasing road accidents in the region. Statistics show 298 lives were lost in the first half of the year. Acting Regional Commander DCOP David Ajima says the police will lead massive enforcement efforts to deal with the increasing number. Now Ajima has more in the following report.
Statistics shows 2,135 people were victims of road accidents in the first half of the year in the Ashanti region. Aside the 298 deaths, 676 were seriously injured, with 1,161 of them suffering minor injuries. Commercial vehicles lead the category of vehicles involved in accidents, with 1,589 vehicles, out of which 631 are minibuses. Accidents involving commercial vehicles accounted for 156 deaths, whilst 1,194 injuries sustained. Crashes involving 1,284 private vehicles killed 97 persons and injured 491. Saloon cars were mostly involved in the crashes, with the figure standing at 727. DCOP David Ajem, addressing the press, said motor offences lead crimes recorded by the service in the region.
Indiscipline on our roads is the biggest menace in the region. We lose a life every day to road accidents in this region. Again, a minimum of 13 persons are injured a day. And so if you do the math, it means that for a year, for only road traffic deaths, we are recording close to 400 persons, which is unacceptable. So all motorists in the region are therefore requested to henceforth respect the rules of the roads. Otherwise, they would be arrested and prosecuted.
The number of motorcycle accidents, which have become a common means of transport, have also increased. A total of 697 motorbike accidents were recorded, with 104 deaths and 539 injuries. 409 of the motorcycles were motorbikes, with 269 being tricycles. DCOP Ajem again.
If they ride without documentation, if they are underage people, if they are riding without regard to other road users, you arrest them and prosecute them.
For JoyNews, Nana Ajima, Kumasi.
Now, 9 lives and property worth over 15 million cedis have been lost to fires in the Ashanti region in the first half of the year. This is despite a 20.4% decrease in total fire incidents recorded within the same period last year. The fire services, however, resolved in further reducing fire incidents to protect lives and property. Nanao Jima again.
The Ashanti region recorded a drastic reduction in bush burning from 222 to 44 in the period under review. Fires in vehicles and institutions also recorded a marginal decrease. Domestic fires in the first half of this year, however, increased to 270 from last year's figure of 246. PRO for the service in the Ashanti region, DO3, Desmond Aka, explains the firefighting procedure in delivering on its mandate.
Out of the 622 that we have recorded this year, 435 were fires that before we even got to the scene, the public themselves have been able to extinguish. And that is a plus on our side, that even the effort that we have been putting in terms of reaching them with the message according to the fire safety is going down well. Just that some few recalcitrants are not adhering. That is why we are having these challenges, especially in our domestic setting. So with time, I know with a lot more effort, we'll be able to reduce it. We have set a target for ourselves to reduce fire and related incident by 60%. And so far, half year and still counting, we have done significantly 20% and more.
On Sunday, 2nd May this year, a 17-year-old died in the fire that ravaged part of Asafu Bibi slum near Cocoa building in Kumasi. On the 24th of the same month, 3 persons died in a fuel tanker explosion at Oninanufu in the Ahafo-Ano Southwest District. The driver of the fuel tanker and his assistant, as well as 2-year-old boy living in the community, were burnt to death. Fire swept through some slums, including Dagomba Line, destroying property worth thousands of cedis. DO3 Desmond Aka explains measures to address fatalities and property loss being recorded.
As of June, we had lost about 9, as against the same period last year, 3. So it meaning that this time round, we are losing a lot more lives and a lot more properties to the fires that are occurring. It means that we have to change our strategies in terms of reaching out with our fire educational or safety messages, and for which we are much on course.
Kumasi Metropolis has 7 fire stations, with 2 of the tenders down. Despite logistical constraints, the service is targeting further reduction in fire cases, with focus on prevention and the training of the public in handling of fire. The service on 4 different occasions were threatened and prevented from accessing fire scenes, with the accusation of delays in responding to emergency calls. ACFO Henry Jiwa is pleading with the public to call the service promptly as the service adopts measures to address threats from the public.
We intend to mobilize the assemblymen, the imams, opinion leaders, and all that are involved as the zonal communities to explain our operational procedures to them, for them to also explain same to the community. So we organize a forum for all Zogo communities, one after the other, and we'll explain to them. We also intend organizing a fire training and organized fire warden within those communities, so they can even start fighting the fires before we even get there.
Statistics from the Ghana National Fire Service shows over 6.9 million cedis more property was lost to fire in the first half of the year. For JoyNews, Nanaya Jima, Kumasi.
In the Northeast region, the Environmental Health Directorate wants local government assemblies to prioritize development in communities that are improving on their sanitation situation. The Directorate is also calling on the assemblies to gazette its sanitation bylaws and provide adequate financial commitment to assist the fight against poor sanitation, particularly the practice of open defecation. There's more in the following reports.
Takuka is a small community located along the bank of the Nasia River about 15 kilometers west from the Nasia town with a population of about 120 Ewe immigrants. The community was entered with WASH intervention under the USAID WASH for Health project in January 2016. By October same year, it became the first community in the area to be declared open defecation free and has since been able to sustain the status since then. On the 13th of July 2021, the community was verified by the Northeast Regional Interagency Committee on Sanitation and declared open defecation free level 3, making it the first community yet to have attained this status in the entire country. Former assemblyman for the community, Abochi A. Prosper, explained to JoyNews how the fight against open defecation began.
So after the triggering, they asked us to draw a map of Takuka. We drew the map of Takuka. And in the map, they've asked us to indicate where we defecate. So in the map, if you see how physics is around the community, in fact, we were so ashamed of ourselves. And they asked us, so how do we feel? And we feel bad. So because of that, we say no, we will not eat. We realize that we are eating our own feces. We will not eat our own feces again.
It was observed that households in the community still owed use and properly maintain and improve latrine with tippy-tap, as well as pens where they keep their animals. Speaking at a mini gathering with officials from the Regional Environmental Health Directorate, the former assemblyman also stated the community has since witnessed tremendous benefit following its victory against open defecation.
As I'm talking to Takuka, has achieved a lot because of this program. Initially, we were sharing water with animals, but because of this program, global community, they provided us with borehole. Initially, if you are coming to Takuka, in fact, even if you are using a car, if you go by, you have to wash the car to be very dirty. We don't have road, but because of this program, they've constructed us a road. Last 2 weeks, Takuka is connected to the national grid. We are now having electricity. Initially, our children were falling sick because we were just defecating anyhow. This cholera, but this time I can't remember the last time a child is sick in this community and they go to hospital and a doctor will say, oh, it is diarrhea. No. As you can all see, the community is very quiet, very neat. The environment, the air too is very nice for you to breathe. There's no any pollution in the community.
The environmental team also visited another open defecation-free community, Guabulga, a small town with 4,325 people, which entered with WASH intervention under the GOG UNICEF ASP project in December 2017 and declared open defecation-free in July 2019.
To end the bulletin, the Awin Municipal Directorate of Education in the Western North region is pursuing an initiative to facilitate the reintegration of schoolgirls who would like to continue education after childbirth. Sebastian Atrama wants girls who get pregnant while in school to return after childbirth in order not to cut short their goals and aspirations. He was speaking at a ceremony to hand over a renovated 3-unit classroom block at Kangaboy, a mining community in that municipality. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
Kangaboy Basic School was established in 1987 as a community day school. In 1995, the school was absorbed by the government. It currently has 176 students and 9 teachers. The renovation of the 3-unit classroom block was undertaken by Cape Coast Resources. The company provided monodecks for classrooms, fully furnished staff common room, lavatory, and extended electricity to the facility.
We are committed to sustainable practices throughout each facet of the business, and we understand that a strong dedication to the environment, good governance, and community relations not only add value to our stakeholders, but it also provides the opportunity to make a lasting impact and achieve sustainable growth. The good things that the management.
When Municipal Director of Education highlighted some issues contributing to teenage pregnancy in the area.
The Galamsey is a threat to the girls in our community, but with the support of education, then the National Commission for Civic Education, the Information Service in our wing, we have been going round to talk to the children, and we are also educating the Galamsey boys not to use our school girls. They should allow them to go to school, because after when the Galamsey is over, they dump these girls and they become social burden in our community. So we have been talking to them. MCE, Education Director, have been moving around to talk to them so that at least they will not make use of the school girls, but rather allow them to go to school.
Mr. Sebastian encouraged them to return to school after childbirth.
When we come to enrollment, there are a lot of children here, but they have not been attending school. And one can just imagine, after the COVID-19, there was a program, back to school campaign. So we have entreated those girls who became pregnant and they have delivered to come back to school so that at least they will come and learn something about education. So we are encouraging the parents and entreating them that those children in their communities, they should try to bring them to school.
The principal of Enchi College of Education, Dr. Philip Nta, announced the college will adopt Kangaboy Basic School for its teaching practice.
My part and what I can do to support teaching and learning and to improve educational delivery is to initiate one of our plans. I did hint to you that day, and I'm happy the Municipal Director of Education is also present. My college will adopt this school as a laboratory to ensure that the development that has taken place here will have a demonstrable learning outcomes.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
And that's how we end the AM News. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapisa CBD.
Right, still the AM show here on Joy News. Anyone? Time to get to the newspapers.
Newspapers, yes. Would you like me to start this morning?
I'd like you to start. I'd love for you to start.
Okay, well, the Ghanaian Times this morning. On the front page, we won't go back to the classroom. UTAG defies NLC order. Ghana Health Service is to deploy single-dose vaccines to COVID-19 hotspots. So we were told that yesterday by Dr. Achian. He spoke to us here on the AM show, also spoke on the Super Morning show. The question outstanding, though, is when will that process start? So hopefully we'll find that out soon. They're targeting the hotspots as it stands now. President Akufo-Addo pleads for endorsement of MMDCE nominees after broader consultation. And 2 grabbed in connection with death of policewoman at Nkoko. Okay, other stories. A man allegedly stabs wife to death following threat of divorce. Remember, I was talking about that yesterday or 2 days ago about how this this domestic violence situation thing is coming up again after a few months of a bit of silence on that. International news, deadly fighting erupts between South Sudan party rival factions. A Nigeria Jewish leader arrested with Israelis freed, and Zambia's Lungu faces tight election contest as debt crisis bites. Okay, also climate report is code red for humanity. And we know that human activity is changing the climate in unprecedented ways, also irreversible ways. But there's a new major United Nations scientific report that has been released and is warning of increasingly extreme heat waves, droughts and flooding, and a key temperature limits being broken in just over a decade. They're saying it's code red for humanity. Scientists are saying, however, that a catastrophe can be avoided if the world acts fast. So we definitely need to up the conversations on climate change and what we can do here in Ghana so that we're not contributing to the negative effects of climate change. All right, a few more stories. 4 former MPP stalwarts have no status in the party. Kwachi Ofosu berates government over high debt levels. Resolved to protect public purse, disappointing. That's according to lawyer Martin Bebu. The center spread of the Ghanaian Times this morning. We won't go back to the classroom. The University Teachers Association of Ghana has resolved to continue with their industrial strike action until all their demands are fulfilled by the government. Gosh, they started on August 2nd. And the demand is for the restoration of a 2012 single spine salary structure agreement that would have seen entry-level lecturers earn the city equivalent of $2,084 monthly. More details in the middle page of the Ghanaian Times. That story I was telling you about, Ghana Health Service to deploy single-dose vaccines to emerging COVID-19 hotspots. Also, there's one that caught my eye. It's about Occupy Ghana. Okay, so now Occupy Ghana is calling, it's on page 23 of the Ghanaian Times. Occupy Ghana calls on Minister of Health to resign over Sputnik V vaccines and procurement breaches. Now, we all know that pressure group Occupy Ghana, or they're calling on the Minister of Health, Kwachi Ofosu, to resign for what has gone on with the Sputnik vaccines, the procurement breaches, and the payment of money as well. They issued a statement yesterday, and they have further urged Parliament to, as a matter of urgency, draft, consider and pass the required legislation that will give effect to Article 1815 of the Constitution, which applies to loan approval procedures involving parliamentary approval to international businesses and economic transactions. I think one good thing that could come out of all of this is if we can scrutinize the processes and make the needed and the necessary changes so this doesn't happen again. I don't know whether Mr. Ajiman Menu will resign, but we live to see what that reaction will be. Other stories, NPP will break 8-year election string, Dr. Baumia assures. Let me just do a couple more stories. Anglo Gold records $363 million profit in 2020. Oh, that looks so good. $363 million. Gosh, if you had that money, what would you do with it? Definitely not work this morning.
I just want $1 million.
You just want $1 millionaire. Oh, Charlie. Last stories on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. Roads in mining communities to receive facelift. An NGO educates Upper East Regional adolescents about productive health. And if you've been following the numbers, you would realize that the numbers in the Upper East region are going up in terms of teenage pregnancy over the past few years. So it's good that they're getting some education. There's also a lot of marriages, younger girls getting married in that region as well. That's it for the Ghanaian Times.
All right, so I'll bring you the daily graphic next. And on the front page, Techi makes Ghana proud. And it has Ghana's sole medalist at the just ended 2020 Olympic Games, Samuel Techi, on the front page. And well, he became the only African athlete to mount the stage along with the other athletes representing other continents during the closing ceremony of the Tokyo Olympic Games last Sunday. So yes, Samuel Techi, we're very proud of you and congratulations. We hope that at the next Olympics, which is happening in Paris, you'll bring us more medals.
2025? 2020. It's yeah. 4 years from now, isn't it? It's 2025, yeah.
Okay, and then appoint third. Okay, so the next Olympics is
2024.
I guess the pandemic disrupted this one.
Yeah, because this is 2020, isn't it? Yeah.
So appoint third party to mediate UTAG NLC impasse, Austin Game. 3 suspected robbers die in shootout with the police. Would be having that featuring on the AM show. We'll bring you the full report of Maxwell Agwagwa went to the scene subsequently and he spoke to eyewitnesses and he has an account for us. So do stay tuned in, we'll bring you that. Auditor General presents 12 statutory reports to Parliament. And then let's just, well, Okay, so the Techi Makes Ghana Proud story is on page 3, so you can grab a copy of the Daily Graphic to get that. Then I'll move to, okay, on the editorial, let's make COVID-19 vaccines available. That's on from the Daily Graphic editorial. Hustle shuttle between lectures, tale of two GIJ campuses. Okay, I'm moving to this story. Let's find, oh, there's an opinion also. Little Oswald's 5 management principles. That's an opinion piece. You may want to find out what the principles are in there. Yes, so this is a story I've been meaning to get to. COVID-19 should not stop breastfeeding. Dr. Kuma Abwaje, period. So breastfeed. Give them their breast milk. I mean, give them the breast.
The children, that is. Yeah. It's interesting because I was just wondering what the connection between COVID-19 and breastfeeding was, or why mothers who feel like they can't give their babies breast milk.
Now that you've spoiled the party, let me just go to the story. Okay, so Dr. Kuma Bwaji, he was speaking on Breastfeeding Week. He says there was also growing concern that producers of baby food had compounded those risks that if you're breastfeeding, if you have COVID-19, you shouldn't breastfeed.
Okay.
They've compounded those risks by invoking unfounded fears that breastfeeding could transmit COVID-19 from mother to child and marketed their products as safer options. However, he said those assertions were untrue because WHO had recommended that standard infant feeding guidelines should be adhered to during the COVID-19 pandemic. He said a woman with COVID-19 should be supported to breastfeed safely by holding her baby skin to skin and also share a room with her baby because close contact and early exclusive breastfeeding helped babies to thrive. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So now you have the full story.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, but was it really necessary for you to spoil the party like that?
Wow.
Okay, appointed party to mediate UTAG and LC impasse. That's Austin Game saying that. And 3 suspected robbers died in shootout with police, which I've already brought to you. Now let me go to... All right, Auditor General presents 12 statutory reports to Parliament. It's the first time in 10 years. That's interesting, according to the Daily Graphic. So it's in there. All right, so I knew this was going to come. There's a story I read yesterday about one Fred Avonyo arrested. I actually didn't review that because I wasn't sure. I mean, then there's a sort of a disclaimer.
Okay.
And I'm going to read that in full. It says, a media consultant, Mr. Fred Avonyo, has not been arrested as an accomplice in any job scam. Mr. Avonyo, who has since 1995 worked as a broadcast journalist, has never been an accomplice of any person involved in a job scam. It has to do with the Ministry of Employment story that we shared yesterday.
The one that they were collecting 1,005.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And Fred Avonyo, well, the journalist Fred Avonyo is a colleague.
Okay.
So when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's probably another Fred Avonyo.
Okay.
But he's found it necessary to speak to the Daily Graphic to get them to put it out that, let me read that. I have worked within the media space with the name Fred Avonyo, and many people will reasonably assume that I am the said Fred Avonyo. Indeed, one such person drew my attention to this publication. I want to state unequivocally that I was never an accomplice of any person involved in a job scam and has never been arrested by national security in relation to any job scam and any other offense. On the contrary, I broke the story on this job scam as a broadcast journalist working with Joy FM, confirmed with the Daily Graphic. Okay, so yeah, Fred Avonyo is in the guy who... I know Fred Avonyo personally. He worked here at Multimedia. President inaugurates court complex for Kintampo, administration block for Prang, and committee to regulate soybean exports sworn in. That's in the center spread. And talking about the center spread, now I'm going to bring this issue up because my uncle, who is a librarian, he has worked with the UN for a long time. He called me the other day, and his issue is that the center spread, you see the way they put a story right there in the middle. He says, no, it's not done. Because if you bind You know, sometimes they bind these in the libraries. It says if you bind the newspaper, you lose the middle. You can't read the middle.
You can't read
So
them.
he says...
It needs to be
Exactly.
so that there's space.
Yes, and leave that space in between.
In the middle.
It's been a major issue for him. So now, Daily Graphic, please. Now that the issue has come up, that's from my uncle. He's called Samuel Odote. Yeah.
Uncle Sammy, please, good morning. We are greeting
He's a big man.
All right.
Okay,
It makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Yeah, so sort it out for him, Daily Graphic. Okay. Occupy Ghana demands Health Minister's resignation. And, okay, I think I've let me just go to the back page. Businesswoman donates medical equipment to Asini Hospital, and FDA assures of vaccine integrity. That'll be for the Daily Graphic.
You know what's interesting, Israel?
Yeah.
Okay, almost all of the newspapers do that.
Yeah.
Just kind of treat the center spread as one big.
Yeah. He has a problem with
Yeah, the Ghanaian Times is doing that as well. So is the Chronicle and the Daily Statesman. Anyways, let's go to the Chronicle this morning. And that story about Occupy Ghana wanting the health minister sacked, also on the front page. Family accuses police of unlawful seizure of lands. Police killed 3 suspected robbers at Shiashi. Like Israel said, we'll bring you Maxwell Abab's report. No way. You cannot leave Ghana. Court halts deportation of Chinese illegal miners over 16 million cedi. Civil suits. And the scripture on the front page of the Chronicle this morning, 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of timidity, but of power and love and discipline. Okay, other stories in the Ghanaian Chronicle. Arrest and fine anyone who breaches COVID-19 protocols. So the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey, has ordered all metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to arrest, fine and prosecute individuals or groups of persons who breach the COVID-19 protocols to serve as a deterrent to others. So the MMDAs should also ensure that individuals or group of persons who breach this protocol are fined, are prosecuted according to the law. So it should be interesting. They're going to have random spot checks on a lot of things. So wearing of masks, funerals, all the things that fall under the public bans. The minister said this yesterday, and he says there should be mandatory adherence to all COVID-19 protocols. So interesting stuff there. Transport Minister chairs West and Central African Maritime Organization. That story about the Chinese who are trying to leave the country. No way, you can't leave Ghana. Other stories, a husband's tribute to a virtuous wife. And this is interesting. It's by Godfred K. Ahenkumi. He's an advocate against cheating and of peaceful coexistence. And he talks about his wife and everything that she has been to him. Interesting one there. Advocate against cheating and for peaceful coexistence. Okay, a couple of international stories, Nigerian stories. Buhari expresses sympathy with Turkey over wildfire. Lagos-Kano train service resumes soon. Returns to the negotiating table. Health Minister appeals to striking doctors. And now in Nigeria, the doctors are on strike, which is unfortunate, especially in these times. They also started their strike, like UTAG, on August 2nd, over irregularities and owing salaries to housing officers. Government postpones COVID-19 vaccination due to unforeseen circumstances. That's what's happening in Nigeria. Okay, a little bit of showbiz this morning on page 10 of the Ghanaian Chronicle. Gospel musician Nava wins Artist of the Year at the Western Music Awards. My ex-husband is threatening my life. That's Princess Shingle. And Jackie releases her new single, Need Me. Jackie is the one who sang My Mind Day for you. If you love that song, take a listen to this. You might love it too. International stories. Sudan recalls ambassador to Ethiopia amid frayed ties. Thai man charged over death of Swiss tourist. French police question man after he admitted killing priest. 8-year-old becomes the youngest person charged with blasphemy after intentionally urinating in a mosque. So an 8-year-old Hindu boy is being held in protective police custody in East Pakistan after becoming the youngest person ever to be charged with blasphemy in the country. Now, he went to pee, decided to pee in a mosque. He's accused of intentionally urinating on a carpet in the library where religious books were kept this month. Now, the interesting thing about this story is that blasphemy charges can carry the death penalty. So it's actually very, very, very serious. Unfortunately, and the truth is, this 8-year-old boy is not even aware that such blasphemy issues exist and has been falsely indulged in these matters. He still doesn't understand what his crime is and why he will be kept in jail for a week. He's only 8 years old after all. Okay, other stories. Residents of Nkwanta so cry of abandoned E-block project. There's a story of the health benefits of cola nut. If you're interested in cola nuts, PSG to sell 10 players for the expected arrival of Messi. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Paris Saint-Germain will reportedly let 10 players go in the efforts to finance the blockbuster signing of Lionel Messi. Oh my God.
This one is not breaking the bank, it's breaking the club.
It's breaking 10 players. Wow. But that's what talent does though, isn't it? I mean, so far he's been worth every pound, every dollar that has been paid for him. Lukaku completes £98 million return to Chelsea. Barcelona's Aguero to miss 10 weeks with calf injury. So lots of sports stories. This is one I really don't want to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hearts coach calls for more support ahead of Champions League campaign. What support again? Yeah, what support again? We are even tired. Anyway, Kotoko in advance talks with coach Dr. Prosper now, and Partey to miss Arsenal games against Chelsea and Man City. Israel, let's move on from
No. We can't just move on. I mean, you needed clarity to the issue. So, Hearts coach is calling for support ahead of Champions League. I mean, they're going. Hearts is going onto the continent to play, and it would involve, they're traveling and all of that. I mean, support has been given to clubs in the past, and we are still in the pandemic. So government can come in and say, okay, I'll support you some way, somehow.
Okay.
That's all they're asking for. Okay?
Okay.
And if you feel if you feel like supporting Accra Hearts of Folk as well, we'll start a fundraiser for Accra Hearts of Folk right here on the AM show.
Wow.
You cool with that?
I think you should expect an invoice from your boss for starting a fundraiser.
I haven't started. I said I will start.
You will start. Okay.
In fact, we will start.
You and
the two of us. Okay, let's go to the Daily Guide now. And on the front page, NDC lied about Kufuor $5 million bribe. Alute spills beans, confesses to Pope. There's a confessing to Pope bits that got me interested. So I said, okay, let me go and find out
which Pope?
Exactly where, which Pope. So he essentially says, he said this on Peace FM, that they pushed the fake $5 million bribe story to gain political advantage. He said, we were only yearning to come to power, so we're just blackmailing. And even said he has since confessed to the Pope and asked God for forgiveness.
Which Pope?
And he goes, I went for confession in Rome and informed the Pope that this is what I have done.
The Pope.
So he should pardon me and seek long life for me. That is why I'm here today, he added. So, I mean, those who go for confession, those who visit the Vatican, do you confess to the Pope when you go?
I don't know. I haven't gone to confess to. Okay. I've been to the Vatican, but I didn't go and confess to the Pope. I would be amazed if the Pope is actually sitting in a little, those little room boxes thingies and hearing confessions. One would think you'd have a lot more to do, and that might be designated.
Well, yeah. So Alote Jacobs, he used to be with the NDC. The NDC says they fired him. So that's the story about. Okay, prank chief claps for Nana Starch Factory.
What a story.
What a story, exactly. I mean, so I'm imagining that the prank chief is saying, Nana,
yeah.
And then following right there, after that one, is also another story. Nana MPP is champion for social interventions, says John Boyd. And the way the champion...
And then wait. And then right at the side of it, Akufo-Addo not happy with MPP.
Yeah.
Does that even work?
Yeah. Okay, so the Ekuado not being happy with the MPP, apparently the president was in the Bono East region. And he says, you know, they lost some seats. They had more seats. Well, they had about 5 seats.
They lost,
and they lost, they now have 3.
Okay.
So that's why he's not happy with that.
Okay. It's just funny how the headlines, you know, kind of go, but yeah.
Okay, so let's check out the other stories in the Daily Guide. So, loose talk pastor disowned.
Oh, by whom?
You know, the pastor who was at the Fix the Country demonstration who said the tithes are not coming in. Yeah, so the church, he belongs to the Evangelical Methodist Church International, has dissociated itself from comments made by its head pastor for Asylum Down branch in Accra, the Fix the Country protest.
Okay, so they've dissociated from the statements he made.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was saying that the tithes are not coming in because the country is tough.
Unfixed. Yeah.
So they should fix the country. All right, and then visa-free for Ghanaians traveling to UAE. That's been a story that's been trending for a while now. So you can go to the UAE and you wouldn't need a visa. Then Ohima Messi, Sapon divided over gospel and secular artists collaboration.
That's always been quite a topical issue, you know, the collabos between gospel and secular artists, and whether that's a good thing. Okay,
and let me just go to the back page. Olympics torch hits down today. City splash £150 million for Hurricane, and all set for Kantanka Cup.
How many players do they have to lose to get Hurricane?
I have to get into that, but well,
City,
they have a lot of money.
They have a lot of money.
So yeah, they can splash that.
Okay, so we're gonna go to splash that cash. We're gonna go to our online stories in a second. We'll start with My Joy Online. I'm just going to quickly run through the front page of the Daily Statesman whilst we wait for that. Chiefs Lord Akufo-Addo for massive infrastructural developments. Police killed 3 armed robbers. Foil attempt to rob a businessman. Baumia urges NPP members to avoid pettiness. And 1D1F factory is a dream come true for me. That's according to the Prime Chief.
Okay, so let me bring you the finder as well. 59.1 million CDs, ECG meters, conductors abandoned since 2014, while management procures new ones. ECG says the meters have technical challenges. Well, that's a problem. I mean, 59.1 million CDs.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. That's a lot. Akufo-Addo's achievements in Kranza on President and Kranza Chief, and citizenry welfare is paramount to government. That's President Akufo-Addo. Okay, but the story on the ECG meters, it's on page 2 of the finder. It's the Auditor General's report.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get the details there.
Okay, can I move to online?
Yes, we can.
Now, okay, so the first story is Sputnik vaccine procurement. Every arm of government failed in this exercise. That's according to Kofi Bentil. Hashtag Ajiman must go. That hashtag trended yesterday, the whole day, on Twitter. Hashtag Ajiman must go. Ghanaians on social media call for dismissal of the health minister. Senior Staff Association, University of Ghana calls of strike. Oh, really? That's interesting.
So the Senior Staff Association has called out the strike, but UTAG strikers.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification. Joy FM Super Morning Show discusses bylaw to ban aboboya on Accra's highways. We will be discussing that as well. I'll go to the streets and have a conversation about that. Lotto agent and hotel manager are helping police to solve the police officer's murder. Police gunned down 3 armed robbers at Opebia. Accra RegSec orders arrest and prosecution for breaches of COVID-19 protocols and COVID-19. Ooh, not good. Ghana records 30 deaths in 7 days. That's not good. And of course, our figures are still going up. We have 874 deaths in total, a cumulative 108,226 cases, and 100,383 recovered. That's about it for My Joy Online and for our online and news.
But the My Joy Online story, the top story in the Sheikh agreeing to refund the money to to Ghana. It's
$2.4 million.
Yeah, 2.4, yeah, $7 million. That's interesting.
That's, yeah.
If you go into the story, it says that the sheikh has actually indicated that they're going to refund. And
which does not, Israel, in any way absolve the problems and the lack of due diligence and the lack of all the things that happened for that to happen.
Absolutely. So I read you a bit of the story. It says the private officer of His Highness, per the correspondence, has honorably agreed to refund an amount of $2,470,000, being the balance left on the 50% advance payment of $2,850,000 United States dollars, portions of the Health Ministry's letter to the Finance Minister read. So, yeah, we have that. We're hoping that indeed, I mean, it's not so much about agreeing to refund, it's about the money coming in. And after the money coming in, there should be consequences, whichever way.
Indeed. I absolutely agree with you. Well, thank you for staying tuned to the news review. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you some sports, and then, of course, we'll dive into our conversations for today. Remember, we're talking on AM Talk. We're talking about the Health Minister. We're talking Sputnik V. We're also talking about GNPC. We're talking about COVID-19 sanctions and protocols. And also, we'll be going to Fadama, Old Fadama, and for our Drive Safe campaign as we talk about the bylaw to get the aboboyas of some of our streets. My name is Enima Animado. I'm doing this with a very handsome Israelite who makes me struggle to focus, but we're pressing on. Don't go anywhere. This is the AM show.
Fool yourself. When I posted that photo.
For a combined drying spells of 21 years, Accra House of Oak finally won the Ghana Premier League and also the MTN FA Cup. And yesterday, the board chairman of the club, Togbe Afede, hosted a party for the players for the success they chalked in the just ended Premier League season. And Romelu Lukaku has arrived in London to complete a club record transfer fee of £97 million to the Blues, a club he left somewhere 2014. We'll also be talking about Tokyo Olympic stories as Benjamin Azamati tells us that he was not in good shape for the 100 meters competition that he participated in. Welcome to AM Sports with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Let's talk about Accra House of Oak, who won the double this season after beating Ashanti Gold in the final of the MTN FA Cup via penalty kicks. And yesterday, board chairman of the club, Togbe Afede, held a party for the players and promised them a special package. There's more in the following report.
The 2020-21 football season is one to remember from the perspective of House of Oak. Having won the Ghana Premier League, the Phobians completed a double, defeating Ashanti Gold via penalty kickout to win the MTN FA Cup. Board chairman of the club, Togbe Afede, the 14th, has promised to pay a package to the players into their accounts within this week.
I cannot thank our players enough. It was so much joy watching you commit a lot, commit everything in you to the cause of the oak tree. Remember, the oak tree stands for what? Resilience, longevity. I text that to all of you, each one of you. I text to you the oak tree and the meaning, each one of you individually. It's important that we understand why we are the hearts of oak. Each one in you, each one has in you a heart of oak, the heart of an oak tree. Strength, endurance, longevity. That is why we all have hearts of oak. Your rewards for winning these trophies will be paid into your accounts this week.
The
The man who masterminded the success of the club, Samuel Bodu, paid tribute to the players for their commitment in ensuring that the club won the trophies.
Players, any supporters, I call them family, House of Folk family. Any the management, any board of directors, any technical team. Yeah, papa, yeah, bibia. Moi or the Abua House of Folk, Abusia, Kono free and Matinti Minano. Meaning say league trophy no, Yadi Nawad Namanda na FA Cup we me Gina players in any technical team, any House of Folk family, I present we Eddie Ama board no a year leaded by King. Our king, yeah, the today after the 11th. It's representing our mini captain. Togo after the 14th. Sorry, representing Eddie.
House of Oak won the Ghana Premier League title for the first time in 12 years and the FA Cup in 21 years. The last time a club did a double in the Ghana Premier League was in the 2013-2014 season when Santi Kotoko won the MTN FA Cup after beating Inter Allies, who had just qualified to participate in the Ghana Premier League. They defeated them by 2-1 at the Accra Sports Stadium. Now let's talk about Marcel Desailly, who is a former France international. He's been speaking about Africa lacking talent. According to him, many players who move from the continent to other parts of the world do not have the opportunity of playing for a longer period because of the lack of talent the continent possesses.
They are trying. I mean, I talk about Jamil, who is one of the marketing. You know, it's like a chain. You need to organize the interest. I like the idea of what they say, bringing back love, you know, into the stadiums. It's good. It's a good idea. You need to bring back the people into the stadiums. The local matches have to be followed by our local people to bring more crowd, to bring more interest about the sponsors. Once the sponsors come and the crowd, the broadcast comes also, you generate a little bit more money. You try and structure also each club to make sure they respect the players, the payments. They have also facilities. So it's a whole lot of work for us to be able to develop, you know, our local football, because it's key. It's key. We have a hard work to do because all the players also are leaving the country too early because they are attracted by interest, by money. So if you structure very well your league, you are able to keep some of the players and develop them on ground to make sure they are ready to go abroad and now start to perform. We are very poor in African football on talent. Today, tell me who is the African top players who are been from Ghana or from Africa, you know, 20 years going to Europe and perform straight away. You would talk about Sané, Liverpool, Salah, okay. What time did he come in? Aubameyang have grown up in Europe. The brothers Ayew have grown up in Europe for the academy. There's few real African who have grown up, done all the academy level in Africa, who have succeeded in European football. It's too small compared to the billion of people that we are. It's too small.
Now let's talk about the Boss Game Show, where participants are eager to win the ultimate prize. My colleague Benaya Elom was at the competition and came through with this report. It is a show of passion, education and entertainment. A TV program designed to turn your passion to cash, plus many other products. Put your knowledge of football to bear and become the boss, as you could be walking away with 250,000 Ghana cedis cash. Associate producer of the show, Jerome Awandare, has been speaking to Joy Sports the purpose of the quiz show.
It's It's to excite soccer-loving fans. We all know Ghanaians are soccer-loving people, so it's simply to entertain and excite the soccer-loving public.
And how has it been so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. People are participating and it's going on well.
So if one wants to join this competition, what are the steps?
Oh, it's simple. There are two ways for people on who are not on G-Money. The first way is, let me tell you, the first way is through G-Money. You dial *422# then you are able to play. And for people who are not on G-Money, you can dial *718*882#. Then you can buy entries and you can play.
So what are some of the prizes participants can win?
Oh, we have a whole lot of prizes. We have weekly prizes of a TV sets, home theaters, microwaves, phones, a whole lot. And people get to come to the studio and win cash as well.
Head of G-Money, one of the sponsors of the boys game, Carl Ashi, has been impressed with what he has witnessed so far in the competition.
I think the show is a family show. It's a good show. It's a show that allows people to learn. And so we believe that it's a show that we wanted to associate our brand with. And that's why we actually got into the show. Yeah.
That is a boss show. If you think your knowledge of football is up there, get ready and compete for some of the prizes that are available table 1 in the boss game show. The next edition you'll be seeing on Joy Prime will have Gary Alsmith as your boss. It's been a pleasure coming your way with AM Sports. I am Muftau Nabila Ablai. I've been joined the studio.
Okay, yeah. Before you go, so I'm coming in because of the Super Cup.
Yes.
So the people who are not sure what's going to be the outcome.
Yes.
Now that Accra Hearts of Oak, they won the league,
yes,
and then they also ended up winning the MTN FK Cup. Yes. So ideally, yes, you're supposed to have the winner of the league playing the MTN FA Cup for the Super Cup. Now, Accra Hearts of Oak
won the two.
So what happens?
Okay, so per the regulations of the Ghana Football Association, which were changed by the Normalization Committee, the new regulations are that if you win the FA Cup and win the Premier League, automatically they'll give you the Super Cup. Usually the Super Cup is played to usher in the new football season.
Yes.
So now what the FA would do is that next season, they will just get either the team that finished second to Hearts of Oak on the league table, or the team that lost the FA Cup final to Hearts of Oak to play the Super Cup to usher in the new season. Whatever happens in that game, if Hearts of Oak should lose, the FA will still give them the cup because the regulations have stipulated that if you win the FA Cup and the Premier League, automatically you are a Super Cup champion.
Okay, so if it's decided that they should play, Accra Hearts of Oak should play the runner-up in the league.
Yes.
Now,
I'll be happy to hear this from you. Kodokopa will not be happy to hear this from you. But the point is that the spirit of the game is for you to play against an opponent. So if it's the same team that is split into two, that the spirit of the game will not be what...
anyway, I mean, we don't mind. I mean, Accra Hearts of Oak, I'm sure they don't mind.
Why not play Olympics? You should look for Olympics.
Yeah, Olympics.
Olympics, they took 4 points from Hearts of Oak and they just ended.
Yeah, maybe Olympics. Olympics is more like it. I think Olympics will offer stiffer competition.
Asgard actually picked 4 points from Hearts of Oak in the gone by season. So they're actually a competition for Hearts of Oak. And then there's also Asante Kotoko. You beat Kotoko just 1. You took 4 points from Kotoko. So it doesn't say much. So every team is your competitor.
Really?
That's what it is.
Okay, thank you very much, Muftau, for bringing us sports. All right, and we have more coming up on the AM show. Do stay tuned in. All right, so this is still the AM show. Enimwa is going out there onto the streets, and as I told you earlier, the streets should be blessed to have Enimwa with them. But we're going to be doing AM Talk, and I have with me Murtala Mohammed, is MP Tamale Central, member Public Accounts Committee, member Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee, and we're going to be talking about a number of issues. Thank you very much, Murtala, for making time to speak with us.
Thank you, my pleasure. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, it's true. So the first issue I want us to talk about has to do with the health minister, the issues surrounding the Sputnik vaccine probe. There's been a lot happening. The very latest we're getting is that the Sheikh Al Maktoum has agreed to refund the money, some $2.7 million. So we have a statement, so we have this one from the Ministry of Health. This is the health minister. So we'll chronicle the issues and I'll come to you in a bit. So His Highness Sheikh Ahmed, this is addressed to the Sheikh, refund to the government of the balance of payment for 300,000 doses of Sputnik. I wish to formally accept your termination of your agreement dated 9th March. And this is dated 2nd August. So I wish to formally accept your termination of our agreement dated 9th March 2021 for the supply of Sputnik V vaccine as per your letter, and quotes. By this letter, I also wish to formally request for the refund of the remaining amount for the non-supplied doses, which should be the total amount paid to your office minus the amount due for the 20,000 doses you already supplied, in line with the earlier email dated 25th July 2021, in which it was affirmed that on the 13th of April 2021, funds were transferred into your accounts as 50% advance for the initial batch of 300,000 doses. This request for refund is in line with clause 8.282 of the agreement, which states that any termination of this agreement, which shall by notice in writing to the other party, shall not affect any rights, remedies, obligations, or liabilities of the parties that have accrued up to the date of termination. It would be very much appreciated if the amount is transferred back into the sending bank account as per the earlier SWIFT advice dated 9th April 2021. You may contact the head of legal affairs on telephone number for further engagements in this regard. Please accept my regards of the highest esteem. So this is Kweku Ajimamenu, the Minister of Health, writing to His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Dalmouk Al Maktoum, member of the ruling family. So then we have this one, also refund. This is from the Chief Director of the Ministry of Health. It says refund to the government of Ghana of the balance of payments for 300,000 doses of Sputnik V vaccine, and goes on refer to your letter dated 5th August. Please find attached from His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Dalmouk Al Maktoum on the supply of 300,000 doses of Sputnik vaccines. The private office of His Royal Highness, per the correspondence, has honorably agreed to refund an amount of $2,470,000, being the balance left on the 50% advance payment of $2,850,000 United States dollars. As you may recall, the private office of His Royal Highness supplied 20,000 doses of Sputnik V vaccines out of the 300,000 doses expected of the first tranche, amounting to $380,000 United States dollars. The Ministry of Health hereby requests your outfit to provide the bank details for the transfer of the amount of $2,470,000 to the government of Ghana. We trust that this request will be giving the necessary urgent attention. So this letter has also gone out, and then we have this coming from the office, the private office of Al Maktoum. There's subject refund to the government of Ghana, the balance of payment for Sputnik V vaccine. Yeah, Honorable Minister, we acknowledge receipt of your letter dated August 2 with a formal request to refund the remaining amount of the non-supplied doses from the 50% advance transfer to account. As per our records, we have received the following. So they indicate a total amount of 300,000 doses, 5.7 million. 50% advance received through letter of credit, not drawn, 2,850, $2,850,000. And then 50% advance received in our accounts, same amount. minus 20,000 amount for 20,000 doses applied, which came to $380,000. And then balance amount refunded to government of Ghana, that's 2.47 million. We hereby request to kindly acknowledge and confirm the above mentioned amounts to be refunded, further to which we shall initiate the refund process to your bank account. Please share with us the bank details where the refund needs to be processed. Okay. So this is where we find ourselves. And so we have this correspondence back and forth. And I'm sure you'd say, okay, so you're not sure, you know, how authentic they are, but at least we can trust our sources. What do you make of the correspondence and the fact that, well, the Shakers agreed now to refund the monies?
Well, Israel, let me say good morning to you, good morning to your cherished viewers, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Center with whom I am living currently. I don't know why you think that I would doubt the information you put out there. I don't have any reason to doubt the credibility of your station, and I am well aware of the correspondence. Perhaps the only doubt that I may have will be as to whether the monies would actually be refunded, because that man, that Sheikh Al Maktoum, is known to be engaged in such fraudulent acts. Norway is a classical example where he is wanted for similar fraudulent deals. But let me say that whether monies are refunded or not is not the issue. What is the issue is that there was criminal intent and reckless conduct by not only the Minister for Health, but the Minister of Finance and the entire NPP administration. Let's look at the
criminal intent. That's quite serious.
There was criminal intent. And the reason why I say there was criminal intent is that when the story first broke, you had the chairman of the health committee who said with alacrity that no payment was made. Your station carried his interview that no payment was made.
Yes, we did. He says, as far as he's concerned, to the best of his knowledge, no payment was made.
He said, no, he didn't use those terms. I watched the interview he had in Parliament on your station. He said no payment was made, and he went ahead to give reasons why he had no doubt that any payment was actually effected. When he made that statement, the Minister for Health, who is a member of Parliament with him, never corrected him, never said anything. 2 days after, the Minister of Finance admitted that some payments were made. And I think that these are facts that we cannot deny. 2, even after the Minister confirmation that some payment, the Minister of Finance confirmation that some payments were actually effected, we felt that there was a need for a bipartisan committee to be established to interrogate or investigate this matter. Even after the admission of the Minister for Finance that some payments were actually made, the Minister for Health appeared before the committee and still peddled that falsehood, that payments were not effected. And mind you, he told that lie under oath. And it is very clear that if you lie under oath, it's perjury. And it is not surprising that the likes of Lawyer Pebu on your program on Newsfile is demanding that the man be prosecuted for perjury. So it is not the position of the NDC. It is the position of people who believe in our democratic process. It is the position of people who believe that candor, sincerity matter in this whole business of governance, and particularly in the democracy.
So Mutala, all that you said basically is true, except the criminal intent bit. That's difficult.
What could be the motivation to lie to the people of this country that payments were not effected? What could be the motivation to deal with a guru boy in the provision of an essential such as a vaccine?
If you use guru boy, I mean guru boy.
Al Maktoum can best be described as a guru boy. I mean, tell me, he can best be described as a guru boy.
Mutala, let's listen to the health minister, what exactly the health minister said, and then we'll continue with the conversation.
We have been pressurizing them to give us the vaccines to no serious avail. And then yesterday, they sent us, actually they gave us verbal invitation, verbal notice that they will not be able to supply any longer. And so we requested then they then terminate the agreement which they had actually done. So as we sit here, I believe there's no contract between the two of us.
So, Honorable Minister, what becomes of the payment you've made so far, if any?
Honorable Chair, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't done any payment as yet.
But when you issue an LC, it's an instrument of payment. And I don't know, I've read the LC, its site, but partial performance is allowed. They can draw on whatever that they've supplied. And then the rest of the instruments...
Honorable Chair, this LC was done on site. They cannot draw until we inform the bank that we have received, which we haven't.
All right, so Murtala, you heard the man. He says to the best of his knowledge. So indeed, you can argue that yes, he should have known, but he didn't know, and
Israel,
you can force him.
Israel, he can't tell me he didn't know. Any payment, I have been in government before, and Israel, you are an outstandingly a very good journalist, and you have been in this business for a very long time. You have an understanding how governance operate, even though you are not a politician. No payment can be made for and on behalf of any ministry, and I say this with emphasis, any ministry by the Minister of Finance without the ministry's absolute awareness. It can't be done.
Yes, no, I mean, yeah, you can say that.
Let me make this point. Mind you, this particular appearance was done after the Minister of Finance admitted, which was captured and carried by your station, that they actually effected payment. This appearance was done. He was just being belligerent that this was done after the Minister of Finance captured on TV when he was interviewed by a journalist from Norway that they actually made payment. Yet he appeared before the committee and under oath and still stood by that gargantuan lie that no payment was effected. There can't be any excuse for this man. He can tell us not to the best of his knowledge. And that has been the narrative used by anybody who wants to hide anything. But let me make this point. It is important for us to understand where we are coming from. Israel, you and I would be the happiest people to see this country produce our own vaccine, isn't it?
Oh, right, yes.
I don't think we doubt the capacity of Noguchi if they have the needed resources to produce vaccine for this country. They have done that before. Noguchi's concern repeatedly have always been resources. You saw, or you are seeing what is happening at the Frontier Health, that fraudulent activity that is going on at the airport. Courtesy the same minister, when he appeared before the appointment committee, stated that the company operated initially without his knowledge. Indeed, they operated without a license. So it is properly so to describe it as a fraudulent activity. By the way, aren't you journalists interested in finding out the owners of the Frontier Health? And if you are not interested, let me provide you with this synopsis of information. Nana Asinte-Bidiotu's wife is one of the owners of the Frontier Health. The husband to one of the daughters of the president is one of the owners of the Frontier Health. And I expect you to investigate. Let me make this point.
That's your allegation. I don't know about that.
I'm saying that I challenge you to investigate to shame me if it is not true. I challenge you. Find out the relationship between Nana Asinte-Bidiotu's wife, the Nigerian woman, and this company, and one of the daughters of the president's husband and this company. Find out. And I'm saying that, isn't it instructive?
Okay, so for now, Murtala Mohammed, we can stand by that claim.
I am tying, well, that is my claim. I'm tying it with the reason why we are where we are. I'm saying that find out the relationship they have with this company. But in any case, when the Minister for Transport appeared before Parliament, he said that they had generated only $17 million. And Ghana government got $1.4 million. I still challenge that information the minister gave. And when we filed a question, I had a discussion with the minority leader. He filed a question wanting to know how much and the number of passengers who have used the airline from September 2020 to December 2020. That figure cannot be manipulated. We have our figures waiting and we want to see how far they go with a lie. Now, when he appeared, the first deputy speaker, when I asked a supplementary question to tell us the number of people who pass through the airport, and the age bracket. Because if you are 5 years below, you are not supposed to make the payment. But 5 years and above 5 years, you are supposed, if you are not holding an ECOWAS passport, you are supposed to pay the $150. Are we not interested? If we had allowed Noguchi to do that work and take that fraudulent $150, which was widely condemned by everybody, including your medium, if we had allowed Noguchi, granted that Noguchi was going to make the $17 million, Noguchi needed less than $10 million to develop a vaccine for this country. Now go and find out.
Developing a vaccine, I'm not sure $10 million is enough to help develop a vaccine.
How much, if you are aware, and I think your viewers should come to speed. I was watching CNN, was it BBC yesterday? Senegal is almost done with developing a vaccine for the continent of Africa. Almost done.
And they say it cost them $10 million.
And less than that. They've spent less than that in developing that. So I'm saying that we should be tremendously concerned.
But is it a vaccine that's proven? Because you can develop the vaccine and you try and it doesn't work.
The vaccines we are having by the other company, Sputnik V, for which reason this gargantuan fraud is perpetrated on the people of this country, they went through several trials. And I believe that if Noguchi even started without even developing a vaccine, they would have accumulated.
All right.
And
so, Mutala, we can have a conversation. We can have a conversation about vaccine development and all of that. But let's focus on what this money, the amount that the Sheikh says they're refunding. Yeah, what's your take on it?
Israel, first and foremost, so there's a case of perjury, and it's not just my position, it's a position of several experts in the legal fraternity, including Lawyer Kwebu, a senior, in Legon, and two.
Which Parliament has to take up? I mean, is Parliament interested in that? You can actually start it.
Absolutely. And two, there was also a violation of the Constitution. This is an international private agreement that government of Ghana through the Ministry of Health entered into without parliamentary approval. This is a serious crime. When a president and a vice president violates provisions of the Constitution, that can occasion their impeachment. What we simply asked the government to do was to sanction this minister. We asked the government to dismiss this minister. Yeah. This president cannot do that. The reason why the president cannot do that is that every instruction and command to engage in that came from the Flagstaff House. That is
Mutala Mohammed. Now you're bringing up another one. First, you're talking about people being fraudulent, criminal intent.
What could be the reason? What could be the reason? Tell me. Someone who violated, provisions of the Constitution, someone who deliberately lied under oath. There is huge demand, not just by NBC, by media men like you, that the man should be sacked. He won't be sacked.
Mutala Mohammed, Parliament, you as a member of Parliament, you have the power to haul him before the House and ask him why he did that. And you should give us reasons.
Do we need any other reason than what I have just explained?
You should hear from him, at least.
The minister, come on, Israel. It's just like if I walk into your studio and I tell you that in Parliament, we are supposed not to wear shirts to go to Parliament. I mean, you don't need to even check before challenging the assertion I make. You don't need anybody. I am saying that granted that the minister did it on his own, granted that he never had instructions anywhere to do it. Is that how our governance process should proceed? Is that the kind of democracy we toiled and fought for? That any minister can sit and take a decision without... In fact, there wasn't even cabinet approval. There wasn't cabinet approval. So the minister he's the King Kong minister, that he can do anything. But you see, the reason why this one is so serious, mind you, he had been the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee for several years.
Yes, granted.
Several years.
Granted, Mutala, what, as a member of Parliament, what do you intend to do about his case?
We intend to haul him before Parliament. What Parliament needed to do, Parliament did virtually what was expected largely, because a bipartisan committee of Parliament virtually found him guilty of violations of provisions of the Constitution, entering into an arrangement without cabinet and parliamentary approval. Parliament found that is to a very large extent how far Parliament can go. We expect the arm of government that has the capacity, in this case the executive, to act to do so. And I agree with Lawyer Kwebu that he should be reported to the police CID for investigation. Perhaps Kisia Jabin, the new new special prosecutor, right? I think that this should be a litmus test to how independent he can be. I think that this is a matter that borders on political corruption. I strongly suspect that there was some intention to defraud the state. Mind you, even the amount of money he claimed, that it was $10, $19 everywhere, when we provided evidences that several countries, outside factory price bought it at $10, some less than $10. And this assertion, the video you just played, where the minister said it was difficult to even get the ration to provide. Why? They did the test, and Ghana was one of the countries that they selected for the test of their vaccine. I mean,
so there was Sputnik Light.
Yeah, so there was some relationship between government of Ghana and the Russian government. I mean, for them to have chosen this country and for us to have agreed to use this country as a place they can do the test, it's incredible that the minister would tell us that it was difficult getting this, yet he dealt with a guru boy.
You necessarily feel like you have to use the guru boy.
It's a guru. Tell me, what's the difference between Al Maktoum and the guru boys we have at the license office? Or maybe I should use an Arabic term. I wish I knew the term for guru boy in Arabic.
Okay, let's move on to the next issue that I want us to talk about. That has to do with the GNPC Accra Energy Shares Agreement. So GNPC wants to increase its stake in Accra Energy and AGN Petroleum. Now, Parliament has approved it. I mean, your Parliament, you're a member of Parliament, and you have approved it. Do you really? Is that something that Parliament approved, and so I'd want to believe that you're part of it?
Well, the fact that I am a member of Parliament doesn't mean I agreed with that rubbish, with all apologies to our viewing public, that Parliament did. That is totally unacceptable.
What's your issue with it?
First and foremost, why was ACA contract, when their contract ended, why was it not renewed in 2009? What made ACA to come back to do this? And I guess if you read the coalition of civil society organizations in the fight against this gargantuan fraud that this government once again wants to perpetrate on the people of this country, you come to one conclusion, that this family and friends is going beyond, comprehension. In the first place, Accra Energy, their contract ended in 2009. It was never renewed. They themselves left. Now they came back somewhere 2017. They influenced amendments into the governance and administration of our oil in this country, and those changes were affected. But one simple question I ask: it is projected that these two wells were going to get about $2 billion. Who did the evaluation? The evaluation, the assessment and analysis were done by a third party. Now that third party, what's the guarantee? And I want to ask the simple question: what is the guarantee that the value is up to $2 billion? We certainly cannot tell. What is the guarantee that oil prices, the prices they projected, for which reason they think that we should be sinking 1.6 billion plus in this deal, that the oil prices are going to remain so, more so when several countries are moving away from oil to this, if you like, renewable energy? What is the guarantee? 3, what is the guarantee that the cost that is projected is not going to increase when there are still several things to be done in that field? I think that there are several questions that people must ask. Why is it that Accra Energy could not even get a suitable investor to invest in it? People were not interested because the projections are harrowing. Yet this government wants us to do that. You know the important role that is played by Gabi Ochemdako's wife, who is a former member of the GNPC board. What is her role in this? So I'm saying that the media would do us a lot of good if you do your own investigation, so that, look, I can sit here and state the facts, MPP person can also state the fact, and then you are expected to provide a position that is a MPP or a NDC. Right. But in this matter, it is just completely unacceptable. If you look at the variations, the calculations, they don't add up. And I really don't think that what Parliament did great disservice to the people of this country. And I expect this government not to act upon it. And that is why I will support any move by civil society organization to oppose this attempted fraud on the people of this country. I was opposed to it. I'm not a member of the Energy Committee. I was opposed and I walked out. I didn't sit in to participate in that particular decision that was taken, because I totally and strongly against it.
But do you subscribe to the idea that GNPC is taking up more stake and wanting to play a bigger role in the oil sector?
GNPC over the years have been given up to $1 billion. What have they been able to do? $1 billion. $1 billion. And what have they been? Not a single well have they been able to. I'm saying that this, look at the management of the GNPC. Who are those who are appointed there? Who are those who constitute the board? It is once again the family and friends of this super incompetent and super corrupt government. And everything they do there, I have very strong suspicion they do that for their own good. I mean, they have no shame even in defrauding the state in the nature of Frontier Health, who engage a private Nigerian bank. They defraud Ghanaians. Go to the airport, you find Nigerians working at our airport. This is a security installation, working in areas that we don't lack the expertise to do so. I'm saying that they once again are engaged in this. These are questions the civil society organizations are asking. What is the guaranteed evaluation which was done, an analysis by a third party? And in fact, there is a research that says that about 50, in fact, all the African countries who have gotten oil got less of the value of the oil they should have gotten. Why did ACA come back after this government came to power? Why did they come back? What was the motive? Check and find out who constitute the management of ACA. There was a lady in the office of the vice president, and I remember when we were in opposition, before the 2020 elections, I raised an issue on a media house, and I had several fraudulent individuals who were calling me. And I'm saying that this must not be accepted. That lady who was in the office of the vice president, what is her role? Who bears a Muslim or an Arabic name? What is her role in the ACA company? These are some of the issues people are raising. Let's fight this. And you, the media, have a critical role. It's just that, unfortunately, a section of the media follow the MPP like a shade.
I'll come back to this issue of what if the GNPC is just seeking to take up a bigger role in the oil industry?
Nobody has any problem with the GNPC. That has been the concern of progressive
And you talk
forces.
about they being giving $1 billion in the past and they not having anything to show for it. But yes, the oil industry, it's expensive to be in the oil industry, to play in the oil industry.
Some countries, oil management institutions have been given less than that. The point is that there is a motive and there's an interest. The $1 billion is monumental. Look, Israel, don't get me wrong. That has always been the position of my party, and that has always been my position as someone who leans towards the left, that we have the capacity as a state to own our own industry. I have raised concerns about the kind of arrangement we have had, not only in the oil industry, even in the gold, or extraction of our mineral resources in this country. That has always been my position. But we must do that with some sense. It is not just about we saying that, yes, we want to have a stake, buy 70% of ACA and the other 30% of another company in the upstream. That is not, we should be looking for value, looking at value for money. That how much are we? Tell us what is the valuation. Israel, if I come to sell my Batakari to you, my northern smoke to you, and I tell you that, oh, this smoke value at 100 Ghana cedis, you wouldn't just pay 100 Ghana cedis by my word. I am selling. I am interested in making money. You would want to find out. Now, if I come to tell you that, oh, I got Evans to do the assessment, and Evans' assessment concludes that it's really 100 Ghana cedis, will you just pay? You would want to be involved in the assessment that Evans has done. The point is that...
Did you seek do you ask those questions that you're asking now, the valuation, how they went about it and all of that?
They haven't. If you check, a memorandum of understanding was sent to Parliament, leading to this useless approval and shameful approval done by Parliament in our name.
You didn't have an opportunity to question it.
I'm saying that it's a useless approval done in our name, and that is the saddest aspect. Even the budget which was read, in my contribution, I said we should reject the budget, but that was just my word. But the budget was approved, whether I like it or not. It is a budget approved by Parliament. But the point I'm just making in this matter is that they haven't given us the clear, conclusive, and convincing explanation as to the value. They are only telling us that they have done a valuation, and that valuation was done in the analysis by a third party. That is $2 billion. So we are investing about $1.6 billion to get $2 billion. The question is, Why is it that ACA have still not gotten a suitable investor into it? They haven't. 2, what is the guarantee? 3, we all know the fluctuations in the prices of fuel across the globe. More so, the prices you can't be certain. Look at the price they peg it. What's the guarantee that it is going to be that high going forward? And 2, if it is not good,
there are no guarantees, Murtala Mohammed, but there's also the possibility. There could be the possibility that the price could go higher.
Well, you see, must we take our destiny in uncertainty? That is dangerous.
That's the nature of the game somehow, Murtala Mohammed.
No, it's dangerous because why is ACA so interested wanting to sell it to S2? Why haven't they been able to get a prospective investor? Because it is not attractive. And 3, what is the guarantee that we get the 2 billion? We need convincing. They should convince us. And 4, which is very critical. 4, which is very critical. Several countries now are moving away to renewable energy. So it is projected by all aspects that within the next 5-10 years, the value of this commodity is going to diminish because several countries are moving away. Now, you don't need Archimedes to rise from his tomb to tell you that this is a very dangerous investment we are getting.
Will then that mean that we should shut down our wells and shut down our industry?
Why must we shut down our industry?
No, you're saying that the world is moving towards renewable energy. And so essentially it's not prudent to want to invest in the sector.
That is why we need to maximize the little that is left. And maximizing it, we must not pay that 1.6 billion.
But we must explore. We must, drill the wells.
That is, you see, Israel, I am all for. We haven't even 100% ownership of our industry. But I'm saying that at the moment, must we pay the 1.6 billion in uncertainty that we do not know the value, whether the value will be up to the 2 billion projected by the very people who have an interest in wanting to sell it to us? That's why I use the analogy of my smoke. I can't tell you.
And I'm also pointing it out to you that in the oil industry, really, you can sink billions of dollars in exploration and you won't get anything. And that is why you see most of these companies coming together. So they have a partnership. They don't go alone.
It's a fantastic point made there. That is when you don't have a choice. That is when you want to do exploration, that you are doing it with the conviction that you may get something or you may not get something. In this case, we are not under that pressure. Someone whose contract ended, it wasn't renewed, he left. Then if a different government comes back, they are friends, and they have come back, and they manage to amend some of our regulatory and governance processes of the management of our oil industry. They played a critical role in changing that just to suit them. Now, these people are now telling us that, okay, we want to sell it. They haven't been able to get a prospective or an investor into it, and then we are just running there.
Maybe we're also exercising right of first refusal.
Why were they looking for other investors if they were exercising what you are claiming? They were not. It is not viable. We are paying 1.6 billion in something that we are not certain. Now, when we raise them, you tell me that in the oil industry, you can invest that with that. But I'm saying this one, we have a control. We have a control to be able to do. Do you think I won't be the happiest person if they sell it to us as $100 million? How much did they buy it? They bought it $100 million and claimed that they have invested so far $800 million. ACA, we can't even verify how they invested the $800 million into it. We can't even verify. Look, there is only one reason. The reason why they came back was that their friends won elections in 2016. They must come back to continue with the milking of the resources of this country. We must resist this. Unfortunately, Parliament is playing a role of an accomplice shamelessly in this deal.
The Parliament which you belong to.
Of course. I mean, and I feel like, you see, that's why sometimes I refuse to be addressed as honorable, because the conduct of some of our colleagues are absolutely dishonorable.
Let's move on to the Greater Accra Regional Security Council. They're ordering the arrest and prosecution of for people who breached the COVID-19 protocols, and we're expecting that to happen. That should certainly be a good thing, right? Enforcing it, because we have been calling for enforcement to happen for a while now, but it appeared, the law enforcement agencies were not so keen on it. We're now seeing the Security Council, the Regional Security Council, taking up this matter. It's a good
between the Regional Coordinating Council of Greater Accra and the Flagstaff House is not far. They have a lot of people to arrest at the Flagstaff House. People who have violated the protocols day by day. The distance between the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council and Sandbox, which is operated by Asante Bidiotu's wife, even at a time when all bars and sports were asked not to operate, the woman is still operating because she's a wife to the Secretary of the President. It's not far. Look, I am for the respectability of the protocols. But laws, nobody is above the laws of this country. That you have violations of the laws every single day. We are all witnesses to what happened in the funeral of my good friend, Sir John. We are all witnesses to what happens day by day. We are all witnesses to what happened during the marriage ceremony of Asante Bidiotu and the wife. The president and the vice president and their spouses were there. Apart from them, who indeed put on the nose masks, many people there, which your station carried, didn't put on the nose mask, including the secretary to the president and his spouse. And again, there wasn't any, social distancing. So it is good to respect the protocols. Mind you, pastors were jailed for violating those protocols. Yet politicians violate the protocols with alacrity. And then the Greater Accra Regional Security Council would tell us that, we are going to do this. It would have been good if they were following suit. So I urge them, and if they don't have fuel in their vehicles, I'll sacrifice to spend my salary to buy fuel, to go to the Flagstaff House. There are a lot of culprits at the Flagstaff House with whom they can arrest for violating these protocols.
Mutala Mohammed, okay, so the other thing that the Regional Security Council is looking at is the Aboboya and the fact that they're supposed to stay off certain streets. Now, you have a lot of them in your constituency, but, not quite the area of Shuri. So it doesn't fall within the Greater Accra region. But then this is happening in Accra. Your take on it?
Well, you see, it's amazing. These are people's livelihood. These Aboboya people are using its livelihood. There is absolutely nothing wrong. People can ride motorbikes on the street, and these people cannot operate on the street. What is this? Is there any sense in it? Can someone tell me that accidents have occasioned as a result of this Aboboya?
So they're saying certain streets, so they're not banning them off the streets completely.
Look, Israel, I have been to the Washington before and have been to the Central Business District of Washington. Traffic is not flowing as anybody would expect. Of course, today we have shopping malls springing up and everybody is happy. This is a danger to our economy. The livelihood of many people in this country depends on selling on the street. I have never been an advocate for this so-called decongestion, particularly on the street, particularly at certain designated areas, let's say the Central Business District. People are no longer go. There is a Chinatown, a China mall at Spintex in violation of the GNPC law in this country. Nobody says anything. There is another one springing up at the West Hill malls, and they are destroying our businesses. You have this government going to negotiate with the Nigerian government so that the Nigerian businessmen can apply it on their retail business in this country with alacrity, which is a clear violation of the laws. Internally today, the Aboboya, we call it yellow, is overtaken by Nigerians. Let me get this point very clear. I'm not against Nigerians being in Ghana. I have been a defender of the interests of the Nigerians when I was the Deputy Minister for Trade. But let's be very clear. We have rules and regulations in this country. This is what young people depend on. This is what also uses to ease the traffic. In India, you have it. In Nigeria, you have this Aboboya being operated. But the question is that to what extent does it affect vehicular movement?
They're restricted in Nigeria as well.
Well, but I have seen them in Lagos. I have seen them in Abuja. I have seen them in many streets in Lagos. So I don't know which restrictions you are
So they're supposed to stay off certain streets. And that's what they're seeking to enforce here as well.
For them to stay off certain streets, there must be a reason. Is it that they they create, free movement of vehicles.
The highways primarily, because on the highways, they can't travel as fast as the other vehicles, and they can cause a
There are people who drive leisurely on the highways. Do you have any problem with that?
There's also a problem with that. I mean, you can't be stalling on a highway.
But people drive that way every day. People drive that way every day. Look, for someone to convince me that they are not supposed to operate, then they must tell me that, one, they impede vehicular movement. Two, they also help in causing, if you like, traffic on the street. Three, they occasioned accidents. This will be convincing, to me. But if it is that they are just engaged in abubuya, perhaps we need to regulate how they conduct their business. But to deny them access of certain streets because they are abubuya, I think is just incredulous.
All right, so we'll be getting to speak with the experts, and they're going to be explaining to us why they're getting them off the street. So we'll get a fuller understanding of why this is happening. So thank you very much, Murtala Mohammed, for making time to speak with us, and you going at some persons in government and having to mention their names and their relatives all through. But thank you very much.
Isn't it important to you to know the people behind the Frontier Health?
Not always necessary. Not
it
always.
is necessary in this case. It is necessary in this case because millions of dollars have been made. It is necessary in this case because that company had no prior knowledge in the area they are engaged in. It is necessary in this case because they registered the company a month before they started it. It is necessary that they open an offshore accounts and the monies are locked in there. It is necessary because they got a Nigerian bank operating the engaged graduates in this country and paid them 830 Ghana cedis a month, regardless the risk involved in what they do.
Is there anything illegal about that? About all that they're doing?
Oh, it is not everything that is illegal. When Nkrumah passed the PDA, people lambasted the PDA. Was it illegal?
It was call the phone.
Because if it's illegal, so if it's illegal, let's deal with it. But if it's
I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily need to be illegal. There is a moral wrong action and there is a legally wrong action. That's why I asked the question. When the PDA was passed by Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, people still condemned the PDA. There was nothing illegal about it. It went through an act of parliament. It was an act of parliament, isn't it?
All right. Thank you very much, Murtala Mohammed, once again, Tamale Central MP. And you're still watching the AM show. As I indicated earlier, we have Enimwa Enimado, who's standing by out there in the streets, blessing the streets. Hello, Enimwa. Hello, Enimwa. What have been your observations so far? Yeah.
Hi. Yes, we're here in Kaneshie. Okay, and we are speaking to the Informal Waste Workers Association. They're the ones who are going to be really hard hit when this bylaw, when and if this bylaw is going to be enforced. I have John Bosco with me and also Nsubila. John Bosco is the secretary for the Informal Waste Workers Association, and Nsubila is also the secretary for the Okankwe South Workers Association. So, John, you've heard about the fact that there are plans to take the aboboyas off some of the streets. What do you think about that?
Really, if they're taking the aboboya out of the street, it's not going to be good because the waste in Accra here in particular is too much. Even though as we are many, we are collecting the waste, still there's more waste, which even took gutters and even on the street. So taking aboboya out from the system is not really good. And it's going to give Accra a big problem because the contractors, they can't do all the work because there's some particular areas that the big trucks cannot go inside. So the aboboya used to go to that lungo, then take the waste.
Okay, Nsubila, let me ask you. So it's not as the aboboyas are being taken off the streets completely, but the minister or the bylaw will not allow you to use some streets. So, for example, some of the major streets. So you can use, some of the lungus and all of that. Do you think that will affect your ability to do your work properly?
Oh, probably. It can affect us, but somehow it can affect us in such a way that no matter how that you go to the areas that a big car cannot enter, once you pick the baller out, you must pass that street away to where you can dump it. So that only that point that would affect us. But if they stop us not to go to traffic or go to roadside and pick all the baller there, we can accept it. But if you pick the baller at the houses finish here, you must pass way to where you can down. And that's the same street that you can pass.
Okay, John, so over the past few years since aboboyas have really become popular, a lot of drivers have complained about how your people drive on the streets. A bit unruly, stopping at all places. And some of the highways, you're supposed to go fast, but the aboboyas can't go fast. So they are causing traffic and all of that, which is why the minister or this law will take you off the streets. Do you think that there's anything that you can do to stay on the streets without causing problems for the rest of the drivers and the pedestrians?
Oh, there's a way, because some of our boys, because of they come to Accra, they don't have any work to do, then they get found out to start picking the waste. So we need education. If the minister can organize us and have education to educate us on how to use the route, because some don't even know how to use the route. He can just park anyhow, drive anyhow. And second point is that where we dump the waste, it's a problem. We don't have any landfill. The landfill is boom. So imagine somebody picking waste from Kanisi here, traveling all the way to Tama. Where would the person pass? You have to pass the highway, which will cause the problem. But when we have a mini transfer station just nearby, after picking, you go and offload it to the bigger cars and they take it far away, we don't have any problem. But right now that we don't have any place to go, we have to pass through the street. See? So we need education. If the minister can organize and educate us so that we know how to use the route. That's what I can say, yeah.
Okay, Isubila, so if you are taking off some of these highways, how will it affect the amount of money that you are able to make from the work that you do?
Oh, it will affect me, but whatever that I earn, I have to have it, Clara, because there is nothing like any dumping site nearby me. So before I was traveling here to Tema or Pum, the petrol that I will buy, it will affect me. But it's my job. I must manage it in that way.
So do you take the aboboyas all the way to Tong and to Tema?
Exactly. We travel from here to Pum. Some go to Inshumia, and some go to Kaswa, Old Barrier. And that place is illegal because it's not right for us to go there. So some manage to go to that place. But right now, if we have transfer station, example like Timota, Zoom Park, and Kolobu, they can accumulate it. People need to sleep there 3 days before exposing the waste. So imagine you go to Tama and come back that day. Then you go to Kolobu, then you'll be in the queue until morning to evening at the night. Even sleep there before the following day. You prefer to go past the street and go farther away.
Well, you've heard from the Informal Waste Workers Association Israel. These are their concerns. I'll hand over back to you so that you can put it to the experts.
All right, sure. Thank you very much, Enimwa, out there on the streets. Now, I have joining us via Zoom, Cecil Gabra is a transport consultant, and I also have Kwame Kodietuahene, Head Regulations, Inspections and Compliance, National Road Safety Authority. Thank you to you both gentlemen for joining us. I'll start with you, Kwame Kodietuahene. I want to understand why we're having to do this, getting these, or exactly what we're seeking to do as far as the aboboyas restriction is concerned. All right, please unmute so I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning to you and to my my elder colleague, Cecil. on the line. I think it is clear that the Greater Accra Regional Minister, since taking office, is taking very popular decisions as far as the authority is concerned. We commend him for the bold initiative. We've often said that in the safety conversation, one of the key considerations is political will. Oftentimes, when you desire to take one decision, sometimes you are frustrated by the political considerations to take other options. I think in the city of Accra, and most likely in other urbanized environments, in as much as these vehicles, motorcycles, tricycles, have been licensed to provide one service or the other. If you drive on our major highways in Accra, a typical eyesore is the Accra Tema motorway. It is such a frustrating experience to have motorcycles, tricycles in this context, regardless of what goods they carry, creating a bit of discomfort on an expressway. So the idea, as I understand it from the RCC's coordinating point of view, is that, yes, these guys have been licensed to provide one service or the other. However, as far as their operations are concerned, we must begin to take them off the highway. One, they create nuisance may not be intent for us, but they create a bit of obstruction to other road users in these expressways, and they increase the risk of dealing with crashes, the risk of occurrence of crashes, and in some cases, they are happening. So if there could be other ways to put them to use, I think that we should begin to look at it. A few weeks ago, I was in Sudan, and to put it in context, it is not out of the ordinary. If you went to Sudan today, Israel, I could confirm to you that within the municipality, hardly would you find a tricycle or in some cases a motorcycle. It is not because they are not there. But Sunyane, the regional coordinating council, I believe, working with the traditional leaders, found a way to let it work. And given that Accra is more populated and there's quite a number of these tricycles, the step taken by the minister is right, and we ought to support it so that we can also learn from the experiences that other examples in and around the country appear to put up. And I think we ought to commend it.
All right, so I come to Cecil. Cecil, so what's your understanding why we're doing this? Please unmute, Cecil. Yeah, I believe we can hear you now, Cecil. Hello, Cecil. You probably may have muted again.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, all right. Right, so good morning, everybody, right? I quite agree with my brother, and therefore you would realize that a lot of accidents have occurred. There are hundreds of these tricyclists battling it out with taxis on the streets of all the regions, not only Accra. But then again, if you look at the LI 128 section 1 and 2 of the road traffic regulation, it states categorically that that motorbikes cannot be used as fare-paying passengers, which refers to the motorcycles and tricycles being used as Okada. You will also realize that if you go to 3, right, it talks about the issue where they can use it for commercial purposes. Okay, that is courier and commercial purposes, right? If I'm right, I don't have the laws here, but I know that you will agree with me, right? However, the laws did not say specifically the roads that they have to use. Okay, but again, the minister is asking for a bylaw so that we could restrict them from using major roads as well as the highway.
Right, so they're playing, we agree that they're offering a service and playing a critical role in trying to get rid of the garbage in the city. Now, they say they pick the garbage. If we say we should keep them off the roads, how do they get the garbage to those Tema and the Boong and the rest, where they have to send the garbage? Where do they do that if they can't get onto the highways?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, that we should have an improved system where they can, if it is large, they should have one place where they can put their garbage, where a bigger truck will come for that garbage. They shouldn't try to go to the motorway. That's the no-go area. The motorway is a fast lane, and by law, such tricycles or even motorcycles that have got a cubic capacity less than 250 cannot be on the motorway, as well as bicycles, human beings. The laws are there. They are written in the airline. So they must not try to go to leave the community to go anywhere else. So there should be an improvement. So I am urging the minister to look at all these things before the law will be implemented. And then also those selling water are also part of it. They must not leave that area. They should only operate within, let's say, La. I've given myself La because that is where I operate. Immediately they get to the main road, then it is trouble. Okay, many people die. And then the most, disgusting issue is that you find them with maids. People seated by the bucket, and that makes it so dangerous. Yesterday, I saw one in Israel. I'll send you videos that I took, right? Has his family, that's the wife and the child, and then he's riding the garbage. I don't know where he's going to. So far as we are concerned, and as a National Road Safety Authority, myself and all road stakeholders of the ministry, we believe that our utmost priority is to save lives, reduce the accident rates in this country. So maybe one day we'll say we'll not have one person, gone within a day. We'll have 0 incidents, and Ghana will be free.
Okay.
Again, we have the best laws, and we must implement them.
Now, Mr. Tuahene, so we're aware of the law. I'd want you to actually get into the law and what it is in the law that says that these people can be on major roads. Let's get some clarity, and then we can talk about enforcement. Can you explain or tell us exactly what the law says as far as these tricycles and motorcycles are concerned?
I think Cecil indicated earlier on that, first of all, the are allowed to be registered as vehicles, and but not for fair paying purposes. But the law clearly allows that they could be used for delivery and courier services. Within the context of the LI 2180, that sets it out clearly. But what the minister seeks to do is to encourage the various municipalities to use bylaws, which is also within the law, to be able to demarcate exactly where these vehicles that have been properly licensed or registered could carry out their trade. So it is not the case that the directive or intent is to crowd these guys out of job, but for public safety reasons, these restrictions are allowed. Let me go back to, in fact, when you look at it from the broader perspective, the Constitution allows for freedom of movement and all kinds of guarantees. But the Constitution, for public safety reasons, say that where your conduct, your activity may create public safety constraints, we could use all kinds of laws to try to create these level of restrictions. And that is what the ministry is trying to do. Having the regional coordinating council together with the relevant stakeholders are trying to do. So in essence, yes, the tricycles are registered by law, but there's a limit to their use. They are not supposed to carry persons. Nonetheless, in their delivery services, it has appeared that they create a bit of safety issues. And by this bylaw, as is being discussed, we'll be able to restrict their movements for public safety reasons.
All right, so I'll come to you, Cecil. So I've had conversations with you where you say elsewhere in Nigeria, for instance, they've been able to do this so effectively. Tell us a Nigerian story.
Well, what I know is that, especially in Lagos was populated with Okadas as well as the tricycles, right? Just like we have a new minister, regional minister, and we also have, I think, the mayor, okay, who is doing his best to reduce the carnage on the roads. And I believe that we are on the right steps, just like that of the Nigerian governor, that's the governor of Lagos, right? The real situation is that laws were made, but if you look at the laws that were made, and for political reasons, just like we know in this country that last year we had XYZ party who said, look, vote for me and I'll legalize Okada. And we all know that wasn't any good thing. That will bring a lot more of deaths than people surviving in Israel. So the issue is that we need to look at the way forward and implement all the laws. That's like I said, we have the best road safety laws, but then are we implementing it rightly? So we can let it work. The minister can let it work. In fact, I like him a lot. So far, so good. He has only been the minister who has not started in his office the whole day. And I believe other ministers must emulate this good example from Henry Korte. And I do believe that, once again, our utmost priority is to reduce the carnage on the roads.
All right. But you both agree, I'd want to believe, that before this bylaw is enforced, we should actually have an understanding which roads these boboyas and tricycles can't use, so that we're all on the same page. Because, as I was telling you, some way, somehow, they would have to get their whatever garbage they've collected or cargo to a certain destination, and it may go across a certain highway.
It's precisely so, Israel, and that's what we are all saying, that we should have one point for them to dump their garbage, and then a bigger truck will pick it up and send it to wherever it is across the motorway. It is so wrong for the Aboboya, the Tricycle to apply any major road as well as the motorway. They're quite a nuisance, and apart from that, they always cause road crashes and then increase the numbers. So it makes Mr. Tuahini's work very difficult.
I know. I mean, I know they can be quite a nuisance, and sometimes these tricycles also feel, in fact, they're carrying garbage, and they feel that they can also jump the red light, just like motorbikes, and which is wrong.
That is true, Israel. The fact is that they are slow. They can't match up with a speed of 50 kilometers per hour for vehicles, which is the maximum speed limit. They are very, very indisciplined, and they think they are always right because they haven't been to any training. I mean, it's just so easy for anybody to buy an Aboboya and say, look, this is what I want to do. They even carry passengers, which they are not supposed to do. So do they know? Right, the deaths are due to indiscipline of such riders or drivers, the Aboboya riders. But then that should also extend to, I'm just praying that the minister will come and tell us what he has also for the Okada people, because they are all quite a nuisance. But you see, one other thing that we also, the mistake that we make is that we always compare the courier riders with Okada, okay, which is so wrong. I mean, I had a battle with somebody on radio, and then the person was even insulting me that Okada is all over in UK, don't I know? But he was referring to courier. Those with courier services are also, run the courier services are also part of it. They all run red lights, so the Aboboya is also running the red light. He feels, yes, he has the right of way.
Now, at the end of it all, it comes down to enforcement. And I know that here in Ghana, it's a challenge enforcing anything. Mr. Tuahene, even when we have settled it and have indicated that there are some rules that they can use, enforcing it is going to be a challenge. How do you intend to get around that problem?
I think for starters, as Isela has explained, we need to help clarify exactly the parameters for this directive if the bylaws come to stream, map out these affected users, do as much sensitization as possible, possibly give them sufficient time to process the change, bearing in mind that there should be other opportunities to still support their trade. So if in a given area there is a site that will collect the waste from them to be transported appropriately to other locations, all of those discussions must take place. But to be successful, as far as enforcement is concerned, I believe it has to start with a lot more deeper consultation and sensitization. And this whole process is part of it. Given sufficient time, I'm not too sure when it will kick in, but within a month or so, if we sustain the sensitization and try to have a clear understanding of the transition, I believe that these operators will come to stream, particularly when there will be avenues for them to continue to provide their trade, except that we do not want them to come on the highway. Once they get educated, the municipalities with their various task force, together with other public sector institutions like us, TV, and the police, will work together to find ways to ensure that the directive is not paid for our collective good.
All right, thank you very much, Kwame Kodue Tuahene. He's the head regulations at the National Road Safety Inspections and Compliance National Road Safety Authority, and Cecil Gabra, who's a road safety consultant. Thank you both for joining us for this conversation. You're still watching the AM show, and we have more coming up. Don't go away.
And you're welcome. welcome to the Showbiz segment on the AM show. Well, the name is Ibrahim Benbako, and this morning I am just going to let you in on something wonderful that is going to be happening in the UK next year, but it was launched last week, Thursday, and it is the Made in Ghana UK Festival. So there's a platform that is going to be selling the Ghanaian culture, the Ghanaian businesses, and it's going to be for people here, Ghanaians in Ghana and the diaspora. Well, some musicians were invited, and this year it looks like the musicians are going to be the forefront, and they are really excited about this particular platform because they believe that this is a platform to sell the Ghanaian culture.
Well, I think it's a laudable idea. It's a nice initiative that every serious person in Ghana who believes in selling whatever it is that they're into should jump on board this, because at the end of the day, we're selling Ghana as a collective body, but on a bigger level, I'm looking at it as everybody that has anything to sell and you're Ghanaian, this is a platform for you. So then we have to all take advantage of it and make sure, like somebody said, it shouldn't be limited to just UK. We have to make sure it's territorial so that we go to different parts of the world, partner with them, sell Ghana and everything that Ghana comes with. So as a creative person, this is going to be a platform to sell me as a creative Ghanaian. So then whatever returns that people are getting for whatever they're going to be selling, I'm going to be getting return for selling my talent. So I think it's a good platform, and we're all happy to be a part of this, and I'm hoping it's here to stay.
I think it's going to solidify and also give us the opportunity to spread our wings and fly. You know, when we're here in Ghana, there's always that challenge of how to cross, you know, the borders or to like get into other markets. So with this initiative that is literally carrying what we have to say, international market here we are, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's going to, if it's executed well and we have the right people to showcase Ghana the way Ghana is supposed to be showcased, I think we'll be fine.
I mean, from an artist's point of view, I think it's a really great initiative. I'm looking forward to be a part of the people going to showcase the Ghanaian culture in London, because personally I've never been to London, so if the opportunity comes my way, I'll take it with everything. You know, but I think it's a great initiative.
Well, this is actually a great initiative, honestly speaking. I'm part of the Untiring Advocate, you know, since day one. So it is a good initiative, and it's high time we have to, one way or the other, you know, push Ghana to the highest level, because people have been doing it solely, you know what I mean, by themselves. So these kind of entities, the government body supporting us is really a must, and honestly, Ghana will definitely be known very soon. Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind is that we taking our music and our culture to the whole world, showcasing it to the whole world. You know, now diversity is in demand. And so people are looking for other cultures that is not well known. And we taking it to them is the best thing that could happen to Ghana right now. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. We are taking it to them. And this time it is coming from Ghana. When I played with Osibi, we took this initiative on wherever we go. It's our Ghanaian clothes, our Ghanaian music. We tell them where we're from, and they all come to Ghana. Now it is coming from Ghana, and I mean, it couldn't have happened at a better time like this.
As your role, Karen. So there you saw Samini, Adina, Sinasol, Jupiter, and Bessa Simons, and they are all very excited about the Made in Ghana UK Festival, which is going to be happening in UK on the 11th and 12th of March in 2022. But let's focus on whether we are selling ourselves as a Ghanaian very well, and if our visibility is made known and loud on the global front. Well, Amanzaba seems to think that we are not doing well with our visibility, and we have very poor visibility.
I mean, our visibility is so poor everywhere, and it boils down to the fact that we are not taking ourselves really seriously. Because our way of life is what we call our culture. And tell me, what ceremony or what event takes place in the world without music? And everybody who is supposed to be a practitioner from a particular geographical area is supposed to bring out something that reflects his environment or her environment. We're not saying that don't get influenced by what is coming from, made in the US or made in, but largely, you know, what you take in must be made in Ghana. 70, 80, 90% must be made in Ghana. what we call it, the airplay system that we have here, 90% must be Ghana. Whatever, the content we have on TV, radio, everything must be, you know, exactly. Because you see, if you don't do that, who is going to do that for you? Is the UK going to promote High Life for you? So we begin, I mean, charity must begin at home, from home. That is exactly what we need to do. And we haven't done that for decades. Yet it was only Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah who will be invited by the Queen of England, and when he's going, he'll probably take Bob Cole, Kakeku, any of these local artists, for him to go and showcase to the world what we also have here. That's how come High Life became very popular, you understand? And is still relevant and has the potential to actually outdo most of the genres that we have globally.
And reggae dancer Samini believes that, yes, Ghanaian movie is doing well, but we need to do a lot more to be able to put the global, to be able to sell ourselves on the global market. He says that, yes, the movies are doing well, but a lot of work is needed in the movie industry to be able to get that kind of attention.
Apart from our music, I think I see one or two fashion designers breaking into the international market and getting the attention of some major international people, like Smolly, where Smolly did what I'm wearing now, and Smolly does stuff for Jidena. You know, there's also Chocolate. Chocolate also does stuff for some serious people out there. Apart from the fashion people, I think the movie industry also has made people popular outside of Ghana. So you have actors that you can't miss when they go to like a major mall, like the likes of Jackie Apia, Nashoko, Majid, Van Vika, you know, all these people, when they walk into major malls outside of Ghana, people see them and they know them because of how much content they have on the, on the radar. So I believe there's more work to be done, especially with the movie industry. We ask that more attention is paid to the movie industry so that the packaging and the delivery would be, you know, a step higher than they're doing now.
Do you enjoy Ghanaian movies? You watch?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy Ghanaian movies. I like the funny ones. I mean, Kojo Nkansalewen is a personal friend. He calls me every now and then. So, I mean, I enjoy Ghanaian comedy. Yeah, I don't like too much of the love stories, and I enjoy Ghanaian comedy based on our local culture.
Well, that was the dancehall artist Samini telling us how much he enjoys Ghanaian comedy, not the love story. Well, that is all time is going to permit me here on Showbiz segment on the AM show. Well, let's get back to Easy.